Hello and welcome to the Run Testers. My name's Nick and this is our full review of the Hoka Skyflow. The Hoka Skyflow is a new cushioned running shoe from Hoka for 2024. It joins shoes like the Bondi and the Clifton within Hoka's range, but offers something a little bit different to both by being a very cushioned shoe, but brings the lightweight supercritical EVA foam we've seen on shoes like the Hoka Mac before to a more cushioned model. It costs £150 in the UK, $160 in the US. It weighs in at 285 grams or 10 ounces in my UK size 9. It has a 5mm drop with a stack height of 40mm at the heel, 35 at the forefoot in the men's shoe, and 38 at the heel, 33 at the forefoot in the women's shoe. So Skyflow is a new shoe, but it very much melds together a lot of existing features and materials we've seen from the Hoka range in the past. So you've got that rocker design that we see in a lot of Hoka shoes, you've got that cushion design from things like the Bondi and the Clifton, you've got this supercritical foam from the Mac line, and you've got geometry that is apparently inspired by the Hoka Skyward X, the big bouncy, very cushioned but also plated shoe that Hoka released this year. The supercritical EVA midsole I think is the key feature on this shoe. Like, it's still an EVA midsole, not the PIBA foam that we see on some shoes in Hoka's range like the Mac X2, but it is nitrogen infused to give it a lighter, poppier, kind of more responsive feel than the EVA materials used in something like the Clifton or the Bondi. Got a Creel jacquard upper, loads of padding on the tongue and a fair bit around the heel as well, with an internal heel counter to add some stability at the back of the shoe. As I mentioned, you've got a rocker profile to the shoe like you have with pretty much all of Hoka's shoes. And then you've got a pretty thick rubber outsole, like it's not got full coverage on the bottom there. There's actually almost a little bit of a gouge here as well to reduce the weight. But where there is rubber, it is very thick, and durability shouldn't be a concern given that all the kind of key impact areas on the shoe are covered. To the fit of the Hoka Skyflow, I've got a UK 9 here, which is a US 9.5. That is my normal size with Hoka across the range, and it fits me very well. I tend to get on very well with Hoka shoes, I will say, because they do tend to have a slightly more narrow design than lots of other brands, and I have a narrow foot, and they fit me very well. I've always got on particularly well with the heel designs on Hokas as well. They never tend to irritate my Achilles or rob my foot in any way. So yeah, I've got a great fit with the Skyflow. It's a pretty classic Hoka fit, so if you have used any other Hoka shoes, you might find you have the same kind of enjoyment or problems with this shoe as you have with others, but all around I would stick to your normal running shoe size. So I've run 60 kilometers in the Hoka Skyflow, and I'd say that I have enjoyed every step. Like, it wasn't a shoe that I necessarily expected to be anything too amazing or anything like that out of the box, and it isn't a shoe that blows you away when you step into it. Look, the supercritical EVA midsole is not like a super springy thing, or it's just a really solid cushion daily trainer, and the foam just works really well for me, I find. There's also a shoe that is set up to suit my taste quite perfectly, which is probably one of the reasons I like it. I really like the rocker that you have on Hoka shoes. The 5mm drop suits me very well, and I've really liked that supercritical EVA foam on models like the Mac in the past, and I really like it in the Skyflow as well. It all combines to create a shoe that just disappears on the foot really nicely. I can tick over in it at a range of paces very comfortably. I don't really notice anything about the upper. Maybe the tongue's a bit warm at times, but not really. The outsole's fine. The ride of the shoe is very smooth, and like I say, it works at a range of paces. So I'm going for flat out easy runs. It's great for that, but you can move through the gears as well because you've got that responsive foam there. It's not the heaviest shoe in the world. It just moves very well, and I move very well in the shoe, and that makes you enjoy a shoe a lot. Like, obviously there's a lot of personal taste coming into it here, but when I go out the door and I run in the shoe, it just feels good, and that's what you can really ask for of a cushion shoe like this. As I say, the midsole foam here isn't a spectacular feeling underfoot. It's not something that's going to really blow you away. There are daily trainers and cushion daily trainers like this out there now that are using brands' top foams from carbon shoes and stuff like that and creating maybe a bit more bounce or a bit more excitement all round, but supercritical foams like this, I think, really work well in these kind of daily trainers. Like, we've seen it with the Brooks range as well, with the nitrogen-infused DNA Loft foams. Puma's got some nitrogen-infused foams that work very well, and Hoka's one as well just gives you a really balanced feeling where it is comfortable and supportive, and it's not at all harsh, despite being a little bit firmer than a really soft foam, but it then has that kind of lightweight, poppy feel that means you can do a lot of different stuff in this shoe. You can work hard against it, you can run pretty fast in this shoe, but also if you just want to sit back and run very easy, you can do that in the Skyflow, and it's really what it does best. Actually, obviously it's a big cushion shoe, and just going out in it every day feels very good. I also find that, as with some of those other nitrogen infused foams, particularly the ones from Brooks and shoes like the Glycerin or the Ghost Max 2, the Skyflow is a shoe that feels better the longer a run goes on. The foam is consistent and resilient. It's not bottoming out at all. It gives you that nice comfortable platform to push against, and every easy run I've done in the shoe, or even slightly faster runs, the shoe feels great at the end of the run, just as good as it did at the start of the run, and a shoe you can pull on day after day after day, and the foam just feels, like I say, very consistent, nice and resilient, just comfortable but well balanced. balanced. So certainly you are going to find softer shoes out there with more of a sinky in feeling, things like the New Balance 1080 V13 or the Hoka Skyflow. And if you're looking for a pure cushion shoe, then maybe you can find a shoe that does that a bit better for you, like something like the Saucony Hurricane 24 as well. But they are bigger, heavier shoes, and I think the geometry of them is set up much more just for easy running. But with the Skyflow, you get that comfort, I think, but then you have a much more fluid transition, a bit more pop off the toes. So if you do want to up the pace, you have got more versatility there underfoot. Outsole has also been good for me. Like, you haven't got full coverage here, but it's gripped very well for me. I've been mostly running in the dry as it's the UK summer, but I have had one wet run and that's been fine in terms of grip. Durability looks fine after only 60k though. Upper disappears nicely on the foot as well. This tongue, yeah, that will be warm for some people. Like, I haven't had a big problem with it so far, but I think if you live in a very warm country, it's a really thick tongue, and it's comfortable in terms of pressure on the top of the foot from the laces, but it does add a bit of weight and a bit of kind of thickness to the shoe that will increase the step in comfort, but maybe could run a little bit warm for some people. It has been fine for me, and in the UK, it's rarely a problem really that shoes are going to run too warm. Comes to the verdict, I thoroughly enjoyed testing the Hoka Skyflow. I am really getting on well with Hoka shoes at the moment. I think they're having a blinder of the year. I think if the Cielo X1 came in like 50 grams lighter, I'd have a full Hoka rotation going on right now with the Mac X2, the Skyflow and the Cielo. Just shoes I've loved running in, and they just do the job I want them to really, really well. So the only thing I don't like about the Skyflow from my testing is the colours. Hoka had a real run of really nice teal/blue-greeny shoes that were amazing, like the Mac 6 colourway I had earlier this year, and it's a shame they haven't got that in this shoe because I'm not sure about this blue and yellow. But other than that, the shoe feels really good and I really like it. Well, I think within the Hoka range, I think it's certainly a step up in performance on the Hoka Clifton. Wish it was the same price as the Clifton, but it is a little bit more, but you are getting, I think, a better versatile daily trainer that has a nicer ride and especially has a bit more versatility if you are going to push the pace a little bit. I like it a lot more than the Hoka Bondi, which is a shoe I just don't really get on with. I found it's that very heavy, sluggish shoe, and this feels just as comfortable, but with a much more fluid and enjoyable ride. And then I think looking at the market at large, it really is up there with the best cushion daily trainers. Like, it does remind me a little bit, although they are different drops, of the Saucony Ride 17 and the Saucony Triumph 21, the previous model, as just comfortable, versatile daily trainers that you could recommend to lots of people just to pick up. They're going to be cushioned enough for your easy runs, even if you're just starting running, but then they have got a nice feel to them if you are going to run a bit faster as well. As I mentioned in the run test, you are going to get softer, cushier shoes if you want that. Like, I think the New Balance 1080 V13 is a very soft shoe. It's too soft for me, the 1080 V13, but I know a lot of people like that shoe if you want that softer feeling. Hoka has the Skyward X, which is a lot more expensive, but has a really bouncy feel, has a plate in it. It's it's a big step up in everything in terms of technology and price and just general feel, but I probably actually prefer the more simple, lightweight feel of the Skyflow myself. It's also the Saucony Hurricane 24, which is a shoe I really like. That is a very comfortable and stable cushioned shoe that doesn't feel too sluggish, despite the fact it is a really big shoe with lots of protection underfoot. Again, though, for most of my runs, I'd rather be in a slightly more lightweight shoe like the Skyflow, even at easy paces, just because it ticks over so nicely. And there are some really good higher drop options that I think have similar levels of versatility and comfort to the Skyflow, things like the Nike Pegasus 41, and in particular the Puma Velocity Nitro 3, a shoe I really, really like. That's great value, has a higher drop, has more of a snappy feel to it as a result. I think right now I'm preferring the feel of shoes like the Skyflow with that lower drop and the more rockered feel, but the Velocity Nitro is a great shoe with a really good outsole as well that you can use as a cushion daily trainer that has a bit of versatility but also has a lot of comfort. I've mentioned a few of the Brooks shoes as well in the run test because they've got that nitrogen-infused DNA Loft V3 foam, which I think has a great feel underfoot as well. There's some really good high drop shoes in the range that use that in the Glycerin 21 and the Ghost 16, and if you prefer a more rocker design, then there is the Brooks Ghost Max 2, which I really liked as well. I think it probably actually suffered by the fact I was testing it at the same time as the Hoka Skyflow, and I just find the Hoka has a slightly better ride, has a slightly better feel underfoot, but the Ghost Max 2 is quite similar all round. It's a fair bit heavier than the Skyflow, but has a similar kind of rockered, nice, versatile feel underfoot. I just prefer the Skyflow myself. So yeah, I think out of all the kind of cushion daily trainers out there at the moment, the Skyflow is probably up there at the top for me, along with the Velocity Nitro 3. I think it's a really good shoe from Hoka. It's not one that's going to knock your socks off with how it feels underfoot, but it does feel really good. It's the kind of shoe you learn to really love because you pick it up and use it every day. It feels good. It also feels good at the end of a run, as I mentioned in the run test, and it's just a great daily trainer that has a little bit of versatility, but primarily is just a comfortable and easy shoe to get along with and run in. That's our review of the Hoka Skyflow. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Please do like and subscribe, ring the little bell, and we'll see you next time.